Hello, Alan. Good to be with you again today. Today's word of the day is catalyst. What an appropriate word for what is happening on your planet Earth these past few months and what is going to happen in the coming months. Catalyst. A catalyst is something that brings about change. A change in form, typically, but it can also be a change in meaning, a change in purpose. It is basically a fundamental change. And that is what this COVID-19 pandemic is doing on your planet. It is creating a fundamental change. You have seen evidence of this in many articles, stories about how people have changed in at least the short-term response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Much of this change has been in just being forced to stay at one place, whether or not people actually did that. Just the idea of having to stay in one place for some people who did do that, it was like a retreat, such as for yourself, a retreat inward into the space of one's place, as well as inward into the space of oneself. Other people responded in different ways. Some of them rebelled in some ways. They discovered how difficult it was to stay in space. They found many excuses to not stay in a particular place. And this is fine. This is what they needed to do to progress. Because even in those instances, they are seeing themselves, even approving of themselves, putting themselves in a kind of hero spotlight as holding up particular values that are important to them, to their personality in this incarnation. Just as other people, by staying in place, are also expressing values that are important to them, to their personality in this particular time and space, in this incarnation. But in both cases, there is an opportunity for growth, for expansion, for discovering something new about the personality, about the physical time-space reality experience. In both cases, there's an opportunity to create something new, to create a new experience, to create a new world. And all of these are basically the reason you and every other entity in physical reality came into physical reality, was to experience this particular set of rules that form this reality, this dimension. You agreed to those rules when you came in, and you have been abiding by them while you are here. And through your experiences, through your experience with creation within this time-space reality, you grow and you expand. And everyone does that in their own way, no matter what their political persuasion might be, or any other persuasion that they might have in terms of religion, sexuality, any belief systems they have. All of them are growing all the time. And COVID-19 has been a particularly strong catalyst for that type of growth. Even though many may not have felt that they've been growing, they may have felt the opposite. From our perspective, it is all growth. Even those who have decided to leave at this time, to leave the time-space reality, to go back to the other side, even for them, it is a growth experience. So COVID-19, a catalyst for change. Now, one other thing we want to mention about that particular idea is that your planet is in need of change. Your planet decided that this is the time to change, that it had reached a tipping point. This is a decision made by the collective unconscious of the entire planet. That means all the humans on the planet. That means all of the plants and animals on the planet. That means the planet itself. All of that is part of this planet Earth. And it was a collective decision to bring about this COVID-19 pandemic as a catalyst to move the planet in a new direction. This will not happen overnight. However, it will happen. And COVID-19 is not the last of these catalysts. Because every entity on the planet has self-determination, free will to decide which direction to move in response to this catalyst, some will move in the direction that the global subconscious wants the planet to move in, and some will not. And so more catalysts of this type, not necessarily a pandemic, but of similar global dimensions, global as well as regional dimensions, will arise to push populations, regional populations, and the total population in the direction that the planetary subconscious has decided to move in the coming decades in terms of your physical reality time dimension. The smoothest way to bring this about, of course, is if people make a conscious decision to realign themselves with the new alignment of the entire planet. The sooner that is done, the smoother the transition will be and the fewer catalysts will arise. The only issue here is that you cannot force people to change. Each individual has to make that decision on their own. The only way you, as another individual being, individual entity, can influence that is by making the decision yourself and by being an example in that way for others. If you vibrate that energy just in your being, just in being who you are, others will pick that up at a subconscious level and it will influence them, some more obviously than others. But the more people who do that, the more people who make a conscious, aware change in themselves to align themselves more with the planet, as we said, the smoother the ride will be, and the fewer catalysts, such as COVID-19, will be necessary. And on top of that, the cherry is the expansion that humankind will have to join with other intelligent beings in this galaxy who are also seeking growth and awareness towards oneness. So that is our message for you today. Catalysts, COVID-19. We love you. We love your planet. We enjoy so much the experiences that you are having, that your planet is having. It is all perfect. Nothing is ever not perfect. Namaste.